Good evening. Hope you all had a good day. Nice bank holiday. I'm sure it felt pretty much like the last couple of weeks you've had in anyway. Currently at Kai Tak, so stand 5. We're going to set the plane up, push back, taxi to the runway, do a big circuit round Hong Kong, come in to land, and hopefully land on runway 13. This is regarded as, or was regarded as, one of the most difficult landings in the world. The airport was shut quite a while ago now. It was closed, and they built a new airport on reclaimed land. It's now a ferry terminal, I believe. So yeah, you can't fly into here anymore. You have to come in over buildings, and then just as you get over the buildings, you do a big right turn towards the runway. We're making it a little bit harder by doing it at night. I'm just going to quickly program in the flight management computer here. Just put some basic information in there, and then we'll start getting ready for pushback. Okay, so currently running on the power of the APU. I'm not going to go through everything in too much detail again. Yaw damper on, fuel pumps on. We've had a few people inbox and asked to do a video from cold and dark, and then going through the checklists. We'll do a video, or we have a video that we will show you probably next week with that on. Window heat on, packs are off, APU bleed is on. Altitude, we're going to go to 8,000 feet. Landing altitude's pretty much 0. Seatbelt signs on, and we'll put our hydraulics on now. And we're now good to start pushing back. So cut-offs there. So we're now going to start moving backwards. As we're moving backwards, we're going to start up engine number 1. So start switch in and left to GRD. Looking for 25 on the N2. The fuel cut-off comes out and up to the top on number 1. There's 25 out and up to the top. Number 1 is now going to start up. Our V2 today is 141. There we go. Altitude 8,000 feet. Heading, I've got no idea what it is. 13 something, I would have thought. Try 134. Number 1 is finished starting, so we're now going to start number 2. So same again, in and left to GRD. And we're waiting for 25 on the N2. Number 2 comes out and up to the top on the cut-offs. There's 25, out and up to the top. We're going to put our probe heats on. So you can't really see why this is a difficult landing at this point. Once we take off and we do a loop round, you should be able to see it from the side where you'll be able to see why it is more tricky than most. There we go, number 2 is now finished starting. So we're going to put the engine bleeds on, APU bleed off, packs on, APU up to off, engines over to engine power. And we can now stop the pushback. Okay, so I'm going to put our taxi light on. You might see that come on outside there as I'm doing that, if you look straight ahead. Taxi light is now on, engine start switches in. 1 click right to continuous. Auto brake, I'll set that to RTO, and I'm going to put the flaps to 5 for takeoff. So 30% now on the N1. You'll see the nose wheel moving as I'm moving, sort of as I'm steering here. You'll see the light moving, and that's because it moves with the nose wheel. So we're just going to taxi straight ahead, then we're going to turn left and line up on the centre line of the runway. Just going to change the trim to 5 units. So about to enter the runway, I'm putting our runway turn-off light on and also our 2 inboard landing lights there. Just coming back on the throttle. This airport has got a displaced runway, so you might be able to see there's arrows on the ground here. That means that this isn't technically the runway. The runway doesn't start until you see those green bars further ahead, but you can still use this area for a takeoff run, so you can still start your takeoff here. Looking good there. So I'm going to go to 40% on the N1. Everything looks good. Toga button's in. And now set the takeoff thrust. See, so these green bars, this is us just entering the runway now. So there we go. Thrust is set, airspeed is live, 80 knots. Rotate. A little bit of back pressure. Nose is coming up. Positive climb, landing gear up. $1,500 feet, flaps to 1, bug up. So put the flaps up now, so we've put them up to 1, so the nose is now going to start to drop. So you can see the nose dropping there on your horizon on the right hand side. I'm putting in little to no pressure on the control column now. So it's actually dropping below, so I'm going to have to put in a little bit of back pressure and then just a little bit of trim. 3,000 feet. Just passing the flap 1 marker now, so we're now going to go flap up. And we're going to start a right turn on heading 226. So let's put the turn in there. We'll try to get to 25 on here. Nose is just dropping slightly, so I'm putting in a little bit of back pressure. Speed's just getting up slightly because we're not climbing as much as we want to. About 45 degrees left on the turn. So now I'm going to start to roll out. There's our warning that we're getting up to altitude. So I'm pushing the nose forward to try and keep us at around about 8,000 feet. .250 now on the speed. So 240 just approaching on the speed there. We want to try and stay at 250. Let it climb a little bit more, then I'm going to bring some power off. Altitude's looking good. So now off comes the power. Just need to watch that nose because it's going to drop. Putting trim in all the time. Touch more power. And just trim forward a touch as well. Nose down. Speed's where we want it. Altitude's pretty much there. Just a touch off the speed. There we go. So if I take my hands off now, you can see the plane's flying pretty much in trim. It's climbing ever so slightly, but that's fine there. So I'm now going to put the autopilot on. There we go. So now the autopilot is controlling the aircraft. So I'm just going to do a few things. First of all, after takeoff checklist, landing lights up to off, engine start switches off, flaps are up, auto brake is off, landing gear to off. So we're going to start a circle around now towards our approach into Kai Tak. So there's not a lot to look out outside. Obviously it's dark. There's not a lot around Hong Kong in any way. There's a lot of water. So for the next phase of this you might be looking at very little. Now the altitude we want to be at is going to be around about 1800 feet. So I'm going to put 1800 in on the altitude here. So that's for the start of our approach. We're going to now start coming down at 1400 feet per minute, down towards 1800 feet. Speed, we can also drop that down to about 200. Sorry, 210. Yeah, the engine's throttling back there because we've asked the plane to slow down. I'm going to set up the ILS now for landing. So 111.90. And course is 089. going to start another right turn now. Speed's not coming down too much, so I'm going to put some speed brake on just to help slow it down. Now we'll see the speed will start to come down, increasing the level of descent to 1500 feet per minute as well. $16 miles away from the airfield. You probably can't see it on there, but the airport's over that way. You'll see it soon when we make a turn. So we're going to go to 180 on the speed, flaps to 1. You might be able to see just straight ahead but to the left slightly, that's the new Hong Kong airport. So it's just behind a hill, yeah. I say a hill, it's more of a mountain, but right turn again here. Just decreasing that level of descent now, we don't need it come down as quick. That'll help us slow down as well. 3,500 feet now. Speed brake away. That noise is telling us we're getting down to the altitude we want to be at, which is 1,800. So you might be able to start to see Hong Kong, or Kai Tak should I say, over there to the right. See there's a bridge here to the left. So we're now going to go landing gear down, flaps to 15, speed to 150. Our landing speed at flaps 30 is 142 knots, so we're going to go down to 142 in a moment. So we're going to go 142 on the speed, flaps now to 30. I'm going to select Vorlock on here. That's going to turn us and line us up with the approach. Set the minimums call out. I'll set it for 200. I've got no idea what it is at this airport. Don't have the approach plates for it. So in a second the plane's going to start a right turn and line us up with the approach. now it's starting the right turn. Approach mode on there to put us on the glide slope. So now you'll start to get a better idea of where we're landing. You'll see some lights continually moving towards the runway. That's your approach into the runway, so it gives you guidance as to how to get down to the runway. We'll be using the PAPI lights to guide we're in. So those are lights on the side of the runway. You want 2 whites, 2 reds. That means you're at the perfect height. If you have all reds, you're too low. All white, you're too high. So we're coming over these buildings. We're flying towards a checkerboard, which is just on a hill ahead of where. Then we'll do a right turn towards the runway just before landing. So landing checklist. Landing lights on. Engine start switches in, and 1 click right to continuous. Auto brake, I'll put some of that on. And spoilers up to armed as well. So the airport's just down to the right there. So I now have control.
1,000.
So I'm just flying straight ahead. This approach is pretty much visual. So you're just looking out of the window at the runway. So we've got 3 whites, 1 red, so that means we're a little bit high, but that's fine. We're going to lose quite a bit of height. There's 2 whites, 2 red on the runway now.
500.
So I'm now going to start a nice right turn now round towards the runway.
400.
Now we're getting a bit
Right
low.
slope. Right slope. 300. Right
I'm going to
slope.
try and stop the descent slightly.
Right slope.
It's got a glide slope warning.
Right slope.
That's fine.
Minimum.
All reds now.
Right slope.
That means we're too low.
Right slope. 100. Right slope. Right slope.
There's 1 white.
40, 30, 20, 10.
We'll give that another go. We could have done a better job on that. We'll go flaps to 5. Full thrust. Rotate. Positive climb, landing gear up. We do a big right turn here. Not advisable when there's mountains in the area. Flaps to 1. And put a little bit more thrust on, then we're just going to bring the nose down and then stop at around about 4,000 feet. So, just going to quickly change a couple of things in the computer. So we get autopilot back on there. So we'll just come straight back round and try it again. It's just a little bit low, just got a little bit low on the approach. We're fine for where we were, but I want to try and nail it. We'll come to 1900 feet now. And start the descent. After takeoff checklist, lights, engine start switches, auto brake to off, landing gear to off. We get loads of people trying to do that landing when they come in, and a lot of the time I'm with them and I'll be like, yeah, it's easier than you think, but it's actually not. I remember a while ago I tried to do a video for the page of a landing at Kai Tak. I think I done it 5 times and then give up. It was a while ago though. Speed, I'm going to go to 180, flaps to 1. I'm fairly happy with that, given that it's a live video. I'm pretty happy. It could have been a lot worse. I've had a lot worse attempts at it before. So that noise is telling me that we're getting down now to 1900 feet. I'll just slow down the descent. There's Hong Kong Airport, the new one over there, head up again. If I was critiquing myself there, I would say I turned too late, and then because I turned too late, I needed to turn more, which made the nose drop quite a bit. I'm just speaking out loud here. I'm just trying to convince myself I'm going to be able to do it this time. So, I'm going to go gear down, flaps 15, 150 on the speed. Forelock, let's now pick that up. Approach mode for the glide slope. And I'm now going to go to landing speed, which is 142. So we're back on approach. So it's straight ahead, right turn in towards the runway. Landing checklist. Landing lights on. Engine start switches in to continuous. Auto brake. I'll put that on. Spoilers up to armed. Landing checklist complete. So we're going to give it another go. See how we get on. So I'm just trying. The aim here is just try and fly straight on the glide path, which we're doing so far. Speed's okay at 142. Nose is just dropping slightly. I'm putting in a little bit of trim, 1,000 feet, a bit more trim. Still having to put in some trim here. Little bit high, but that's fine. So now I'm going to start the right turn round towards the runway. I'm going to put some back pressure on there just to stop we're getting too low.
400.
Still getting a touch low there. Going to put in some more of a turn.
Approaching minimums.
A little bit low again there.
Flight slow.
That's fine.
200. Minimums. Flight slow.
Back on glide.
100. Flight slow. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
There we go. Thrust reverses up. Knots reverses away. Manual braking now. So we're going to come off on this one. Well, hey, that one was much better. Landing lights off. And then we'll go and park down the bottom where we started from. So I'm now going to clean everything up, so I'm going to put the flaps up. Spoiler speed brake is away, engine start switches can come off now. And I'm going to start up the APU ready for us to be able to use that power when we turn the engines off. So APU down to start. Turn the probe heats off. You'll notice we're getting warnings as we're turning things off here. That's normal. Speed back down. I'm happy with that second one. I wasn't overly happy with the first one. The second one was decent. APU's now available. I'm not sure if you can see it on the angle the camera's at there, but you can, the lights just came on to tell us the power's available. And I'm just going to come off here instead of going all the way down. In fact, I'll go further down to the terminal. So we're just going to park in these gates over here. Turn my taxi light off. You probably can't see, but there's something up there that's telling us where to stop. Stop, there we go. Parking brake up. Over to APU power. Fuel cut-offs off. Seatbelt signs up. Packs off. Put the APU bleed on. Window heat off. And we can turn the remaining fuel pumps off, leaving on the left aft fuel pump. And that's us sorted. Hope you enjoyed that. I hope you all have a good bank holiday weekend, albeit stuck in the house. And we'll have another video for you next week. Cheers.